Yo, what's good, boys? Today we're gonna be cooking up something emotional, more on the virtual style. I'm really inspired by like the old Uzi stuff like from 2016, 2017, that really old sound that I think is actually pretty relevant still. We're gonna be cooking up both the melody and the drums from scratch, and I'm gonna guide you through the process and my thought process on how to make these beats. So let's get into FL Studio. So the thing is that I already have an idea of the melody. I came up with this like 5 minutes ago. I just want to show you. It sounds like this. Super easy to make. So the thought process is we're in B minor and the chord progression is a 1, 1, 4, 6, 7. In case you don't know what that means, it's just like numbers correspond to the position of the notes in the scale. Every scale has 7 notes. So we're using the first one again, then the fourth one, but down an octave. Then we have the sixth one and the seventh one. Then we add the third and the fifth note, which make up the chord. So it's, in this case, it's B, D, and F sharp, and the same goes for all the other chords. And we're putting them down in this way, taking the third note, putting it up an octave. Then we cut these and we duplicate. So we cut this 1, 2, we duplicate it and we bring this one down. So that's how I made the first 2 chords. And then I pretty much did the same, just like changing the chords. So in this case, just making sure that the notes are in scale. And you can do this by going on view, scale highlighting, and selecting the scale that you want to use. In this case, I see that the 6th chord, this one is out, so I need to raise it by 1 note, and then I'm gonna just duplicate this, bring it up, and now we have the same exact progression. When it comes to the plugin, I'm using Electra X, which is a gold plugin. To be honest, I think it's just like super underrated and especially forgotten because it has been used a lot in the past. Now it's not as popular, but I still think that like for this kind of sound, Electra X is just like amazing. So yeah, now starting from this, I'm gonna build the rest of the beat. Probably also switching up the plugin when I use some Analog Lab 2 and seeing what we can come up with. I think it'd be extremely cool to have a vocal here, just like something inspired by like, I don't know, Dark Queen, for example. So I'm just gonna go on Splice, see if there's any vocal that could be interesting. I'm using the Splice Bridge, which is super useful in case you don't know it. Allows you to like sync the BPMs and the keys of each sample, so it's easier for you to understand if it actually fits. So let's put B minor as a key. Smells crazy. Everything into the mixer to the same bus so that I can put effects. First effect that I always put is a sound shifter, which allows me to change the pitch of the melody pretty easily and get a feel of what could be the coolest pitch for this kind of melody. Then let's run some EQs to make sure the frequencies are alright. I'm gonna reduce some specific frequencies because I can see that these 2 frequencies are very strong and they might give a little bit of resonance. So just by doing this, changing the Q, just bringing them down a couple of dBs, not too much. And I can also do like another cool plugin for this is Soothe, which allows to pretty much like remove harshness and clean up the vocals. Now we switch to the drums. For the drum sounds and also for the sound that you find in the Analog Lab bank, I'm using sounds from our website called hypnvault.com. And so basically y'all know that if you don't have the right sounds, it's like pretty impossible to make the right beats. They're just not gonna have that quality. So on our website, we have a very broad range and catalog of kits that suit very different genres and styles, and that you can use to make your beats and loops sound better and give you more opportunities, whether that's with other producers or with artists. All the kits, once purchased, can be instantly downloaded and it can be used on any DAW. I'm just gonna use sounds from a bunch of different kits from our website, and you can see the titles in the browser on the left. And if you're interested in any of them, make sure to click the first link in the description. So I want to go pretty creative on this. So I know that, for example, the Neoteric has some kind of crazy sounds. So first of all, I have a clap because these kind of beats, like, they just work better with a clap. I'm using the snare as a layer just to give it more substance. Now we're doing the hi-hats. I'm gonna start with a two-step pattern, and then I'm gonna just add rolls. And this is very important based on the melody. So I'm gonna hear the flow of the melody and understand, okay, where is the best position for the rolls. And also, don't be afraid to like change the magnet level to time signatures that are like different. For example, 1/3 of a step. It actually creates a very cool effect like this. Right, so as you can see, I'm also changing the notes because this gives a very cool effect with the hi-hats. And I'm also changing the velocities. So by using the right click, I can just have this effect where it's like linear, and I can change them by making them descending or ascending in volume. I'm gonna just duplicate it and add some more sounds like open-ets or perks to add even more to the bounce. And now we get to the most important part, which is the 808. I really like this one because I love long 808s, and I think this one can actually fit. As you remember, we use the sound shifter, so we need to make sure that the notes are actually the right notes. So we're gonna follow the root notes that we put before, then go and look at the sound shifters, like 3 semitones. Okay, so now we switch everything up 3 semitones, and these notes are way too low, so I'm just gonna raise them by an octave. and change the envelope so that the duration of the 808 is exactly the duration that I say in the piano roll. Since I want the 808 to be always present, but also don't want the 808 to hit here because it just like doesn't sound well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a slide note. So just gonna put a note, select it, use this function here, choose the length of the 808, which is this one, and then choose how fast the slide is gonna happen, which is this length pretty much. Now I'm gonna mix the melody just to make sure that everything fits well together. Another very cool thing that you can do to add a little bit more spice to the melody is take the vocal, make it unique. You can do it by clicking here and selecting make unique. Then you pitch it up 1 octave and you lower the volume. We're gonna have the same vocal 2 octaves and give a sense of fullness. So it's gonna sound much more full than the previous version. And you can also have this only in certain sections. So we can have, for example, only this part in the second section of the vocal. Now let's go on the bus of the melodies and let's cut the lower frequencies because I can hear that there are a little bit of lower frequencies that might clash with the 808. Now this is not always necessary, but sometimes it's very useful to have this because then the 808 is gonna be so much more present in the mix and hit so much harder. Right, so we have everything. Now we just go to the structure. For the structure, what I want to have is I want to have an intro that like catches me. It's like, damn, this is already amazing even though the drums are not there. So I'm for sure going to leave the vocal. I'm probably just going to remove the pad to make it a little bit more different when the chorus drops. So this is already good. We can remove the high vocal to make a little bit of a difference from, again, the chorus. Then we have all the drums dropping. We duplicate it for the chorus, double chorus, and then we just take some elements, remove some elements, maybe change some elements, like for example, change the octave of some melodies and have 2 or 3 choruses and the verses in between. So here we don't have the ARP, which is the main melody. Here we have the ARP and the pad, but not the vocal. So the 2 main elements, which are the vocal and the ARP, you probably don't want to have those together in the verses because then there's not much to distinguish from the chorus. The 808, I actually want to leave it for the whole beat probably. I'm just gonna play with the hi-hats. So this is a structure, for example. This is a verse, we duplicate it. Here we change something, maybe we bring the vocal in here. We do add the higher octave. We've removed the ARP. Here we can just leave the pad maybe. Yeah. And here maybe we remove the 808. Just for this section. To make the drop even harder. have it. So now all we can add is a riser probably and my tag. All right, I hope you enjoyed the beat. This is the whole process. I'm gonna leave you to the final result. But before I do, just want to remind you, hypnvault.com, link in the description if you want to have these sounds or explore all these sounds that we have on our website. See you in the next video.
Gender, the shadow rising.